Hello, I'd like to welcome you to our presentation, which is Malta, a vibrant economy open for business. We can move with the first slide. So some facts and figures about Malta. It is an island which is 316 kilometers squared with a population of nearly 500,000. Our capital city is Valletta, and the official languages of Malta are Maltese and English. On the second slide, we can move to the next slide. So on the second slide, we can see that apart from being an island in the Mediterranean, Malta is also part of the European Union. And in fact, we have become members in 2004, joining also the Schengen area in 2007. And then in 2008, we have adopted the euro currency as our official currency for the island. And this has facilitated our entry into the single market. We can move to the next slide, please. So as you can see, bearing in mind that we are part of the European Union, we will see how Malta is doing when compared to the other member states. In fact, from this slide, one can immediately notice that Malta contrasts very positively when compared to the other European member states, especially when it comes to employment growth and even in real GDP growth. And this also sheds light on the stable economy which Malta manages to enjoy. In the next slide, one can also notice that this positiveness is also further affirmed by credit rating agencies, which, as you can see, to a certain extent, there seems to be sort of a consensus that Malta is, in fact, an A-level country, and with a positive outlook. Despite the global coronavirus pandemic situation, Malta still has managed to maintain its high levels, and although there might be a slight decrease in 2020, yet growth is expected to rebound in 2021. So hopefully this year would be a much better year than we had last year, and we will be able to start the ball rolling once again on the island. Next slide, please. When one thinks about Malta, the first thing which comes to mind is that Malta is essentially a tourist destination. However, the slide gives a different impression of the island and shows that the Maltese economy is much more than just tourism. In fact, the economy comprises other sectors such as advanced manufacturing, aviation, ICT, and the likes. Next slide, please. So the economic growth of Malta, when you see the first sentence that Malta has the 30th highest GDP per capita in the world, one has also to bear in mind the size of the island, which is very interesting, and even the population, because we still manage to rank quite high globally. Additionally, Malta Enterprise assisted and supported companies, and through this assistance, there was a generation of over 2 billion euro in exports in 2017, which is the equivalent to 3/4 of Malta's goods exports. The columns which you can see on the lower part of this slide refers to the factors which Malta Enterprise assists, such as manufacturing, information and communication and technology, as well as professional, scientific and technical services. We can move to the next slide, where we will be having a look at Malta export partners. And obviously, Malta being part of the European Union, obviously the majority of the export which is done from Malta is into Europe. However, as you can see, it's not just Europe, but we also export to countries in Asia, Africa, and basically to all the continents. This is also possible thanks to the excellent logistics sector, which we have also on the island, since they facilitate exports. We can move to the next slide. Apart from the export partners, there are also the main export areas. We have various sectors, although we have 30% of our exports in advanced electronics, yet the other sectors seem to be very close when it comes to the percentages of the exports which we have. This is part of the reason why actually the economy in Malta is a resilient one, because if anything goes wrong within one sector, there will be the other sectors which are having the same, to a certain extent, market share in Malta, and this will be making up for any challenges which we will be facing on a temporary basis. A case in point would be a global crisis or even the pandemic crisis, which made a difference in how we do trade, and certain sectors were more felt the impact of such a pandemic more than other sectors. We can move to the next slide. And we will be looking at Malta's top 6 export partners. There are the intra-28 countries within the European Union, as well as the other countries which are not part of the European Union, but we still export to these countries. Next slide, please. Now we'll be having a look at the main sectors which Malta has within its diversified economy. We will start immediately with advanced manufacturing. And Malta has demonstrated both economic resilience as well as an ability to try to thrive despite difficult global scenarios. In fact, the country has developed a clear strategy for a sustainable economic development, identifying key sectors with high growth potential, as well as plans to support its consolidation and success. And this will lead us to this advanced manufacturing sector. This sector remains very competitive due to continuous innovation in products and processes, focusing mainly on high value-added operations, which require skilled workforce. This sector is very diversified, with operations involved in the production of components for various industries, including automotive industry, injection molding and tooling, pharmaceuticals, which is a very strong sector in Malta, as well as security printing, many with a focus on research and development. And this, we are not just, in Malta, we are not just looking into established companies, but we're also very much open for startup companies. In fact, and just to mention one of our success stories, we had a company which started operating in Malta as a startup with just one injection molding machine. And thanks to the assistance and continuous support from Malta Enterprise and the government of Malta, today they have expanded to house 380 injection molding machines in Malta. We have over 200 FDI operations, and these operations serve world-class products such as Apple, Chanel, Daimler Chrysler, and you can also see some of the foreign-owned companies we have in Malta on the lower part of the slide. Now we can have a look at the life sciences and medical services in our next slide. Life science and healthcare have always been very important for Malta. In fact, following the interest in healthcare, in order to take the sector to the next level and encourage growth with regards to research and development, Malta has developed a life sciences park, which is situated close to the university and to the General Hospital in Malta. This building includes biology and chemistry lab spaces, which are ready to use as a plug and play. They have a HEPA filtration, and digital imaging building, so that companies can start their operations with minimal efforts. This facility has generated a lot of interest, and since the majority of these spaces have already been allocated, the government of Malta is going to invest 470 million euros into new spaces so that companies like yours, even including startups, which we really encourage to come to the island, given that the island is a very good launchpad for your products and services, will be able to cater for you accordingly. The medical devices is another sector within the medical services in Malta, and operators believe that this sector is providing them with a competitive edge due to the proximity to the markets, excellent logistics links, and flexible and highly productive workforce. In the last couple of years, Malta has embarked on another successful sector. And this sector is exactly the medical cannabis. So we're not just waiting for the healthcare sector to grow on its own, but we're helping it through technological advances, and now we're adding the medical cannabis sector to it as well. We have regulated the space, and we have managed to attract a good number of companies to Malta due to the flexibility and practicality of our legislation. Together with this legislation, we also have a medicines authority, which is internationally renowned, and which conducts inspections of manufacturing plants and laboratories on European Union principles and the guidance of good manufacturing practices. We are doing very well within the life sciences and medical sectors. In fact, Malta has been chosen to act as a European Union member reference state, where any operator who is certified in Malta can market the product anywhere, even in the US, within the European Union. This is possible that it is done, especially when it comes to pharmaceutical industry, that the product, once it is affirmed within the from within the Medicines Authority in Malta, it is also given the go-ahead from the FDA, because the Medicines Authority, which we have in Malta, is one of the 8 authorities around the world that can provide you with an FDA certification as well. So definitely that is another advantage which Malta can offer to companies who are involved in the medical sector. And considering also the size of the island and the traceability of the population, Malta is also very much open for clinical studies, as well as to be used as a test bed for new products or services, before actually launching them into bigger markets such as the EU. So this applies both to the pharmaceutical industry as well as to the medical devices sector. We can move to the next slide to discuss data science. And data science, which also includes digital innovation and development of digital games, in Malta is becoming very strong. Malta offers a strong infrastructure and multiple links to the rest of the world. And this was definitely very important to attract the number of gaming companies where it comes to software development, especially, which we have attracted to the island. The sector maybe has thrived very well in Malta because it does not have actual barriers to it or any limitations. In fact, we started off with basic software development, and we are soon becoming a hub for the development of technologies for the future. In fact, the island nation is not only a hub for DLTs, including blockchain, which we have managed to regulate very well, but it's also positioning itself to venture in artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things, amongst others. In fact, Malta has been the first country in the world to regulate the blockchain and crypto technologies. And the idea was that Malta has always tried to be on the forefront when it comes to technology. And so this was the way forward, to ensure that Malta will be on a competitive edge when compared to other countries in innovation. The regulation has been developed to create a friendly ecosystem, and even a practical one where companies and their clients could invest in Malta and at the same time have peace of mind when they are dealing with each other due to the transparency which such regulation would ask for. Obviously, following this success story about blockchain, we managed to attract quite a good number of companies to the island, and has also decided to move forward with artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. The same thing sort of is happening, where the Maltese government has embarked on this project, creating a vision and a strategy for the artificial intelligence in Malta, and also an artificial intelligence task force to help them rope in key players and stakeholders from within the artificial intelligence space, so that together we can discuss, and this legislation could be a practical one for companies to feel comfortable to operate within that particular legislation or jurisdiction. Once again, we have proved to be very successful in this, and we have also managed to attract a good number of companies. To this end, Malta Enterprise has also embarked on another project to create the Gozo Innovation Hub, which is an innovation hub located on Malta's sister island, which is Gozo. And the aim is to have a hub which will house tenants who are highly innovative, involved in AI, IoT, DLT, medical services from an R&D perspective, and even software development for gaming, medical, and fintech sectors. The idea is that these tenants within this building will have their own expertise and their own portfolio, yet through their either knowledge transfer or collaboration together, there will be synergies for new products and services to be developed. Gozo also enjoys a great infrastructure to the extent that we have a fiber optic cable which links Malta with Gozo. And although the fiber optic cable which we have is already fully equipped to assist companies who have already been set up in Gozo, as well as future ones, yet last December, we have just launched the second fiber optic cable, so that if anything goes wrong with the first cable, there will still be a second cable as a backup for companies wishing to set up in Gozo. So definitely the idea of questioning the infrastructure in Gozo is not an issue at all. And many companies are looking into Gozo as a potential hub for them to set up their headquarters and even their companies. We can move to the next slide, which is aviation. And the aviation sector is another successful story for Malta. It is growing very strong with the presence of quality operators. As you can see underneath, we have Lufthansa Technik, SR Technik, and Ryanair as part of the aviation cluster which we have on the island. And these have all chosen Malta as their base for their operations. And these quality operators are involved in maintenance, repair, and overhaul sector, as well as growing cluster of companies working in the aviation software, UAV development, flight training, and back office support for the industry. This has been possible because the government of Malta has also invested a lot in this sector, providing them with adequate space, and even a park which is entirely dedicated to this cluster and close to the airport, and even more so when it comes to UAV development. Malta can be, in this case, Malta can be used as a test bed for new products, especially when it comes to the development of UAVs, since we have already earmarked areas for such testing. Now, apart from these sectors which we have and have already been doing very well on the island, we have other sectors which we are considering them as growth sectors, as we shall see in the next slide. So these are sectors, and we are aiming to continue to help and assist these sectors which are already thriving well in Malta. But on the other hand, we are always sort of on the lookout for new sectors which would potentially thrive well in Malta and be successful. These are the areas which we are looking into, in particular, logistics and possibility of free trade status. The logistics part has been interesting for Malta as well, because due to our geographical location, Malta can act as a gateway between being in a European member state and at the same time a stepping stone to the Northern African market and even the Middle East. Additionally, there are various connections which you can take by sea and by air. And in fact, Malta has its own free port, which is a renowned transshipment container terminal in Europe and is the third largest transshipment hub in the Mediterranean. It's connected to over 130 ports worldwide. And with regards to the air connections, we have the Malta International Airport, which is connected to over 100 destinations. And in summer, the Malta International Airport has more connections than Heathrow Airport. So considering that the service which we offer is an excellent one, it has also been ranked amongst the best European airports. In addition to this, one must also consider that Malta is only 2 to 3 hours away from the major European cities. Now, when it comes to these logistics, the government of Malta is further investing another 37 million euros in the Freeport, in the Malta Freeport, to make it more efficient and to make it more clean when it comes to the catering of the logistics services. Apart from the logistics and possibility of free trade status, we also there is also the AI and IoT, as I have already discussed, digitalization of industry, green and blue economy, healthcare services, where we are continuing to have an interest in companies which are also involved in R&D in relation to healthcare, international educational services. This is very interesting because Malta, up to a certain or a couple of years ago, was known as a center for teaching of English as foreign language. Given that most of the people speak English, obviously Malta was chosen as an ideal place to learn English as a foreign language. However, many are unaware of the strong presence of specialized institutions ranging from top international universities, such as Barts and the London Medical School of Medicine and Dentistry by Queen Mary, which provides prestigious medicine degrees to schools. And we range from this type of education, that is English as a foreign language, and then moving to medicines. And we also provide training for the oil and gas sector, which is an entirely different sector than the previous two. But we still cater in the way that we can, because given the island does not have any natural resources, we still provide training for this sector. So we have quite a vast range of educational institutions, and these all provide different training and degrees. The country has been identified as an ideal base for universities catering for the large MENA market. And this is what we would like to continue to attract when it comes to international educational services. And of course, RDI. Research and development has always been very important for us. And as we shall see later on, Malta Enterprise is also very supportive to companies which are engaged into research and development activities within their premises. And we can also assist a lot when it comes to new developments. We shall be moving to the other slide to see some of the end users which we have in Malta, which include Airbus, Apple, Nokia, Visa, Boeing, Bosch, amongst others. We have quite a good number of renowned brands, and we would like to increase this list. So our aim is increase those brands, and why not, hopefully including also some of your brand names in our next session, which we might be having together. But having seen all these success stories and all these sectors which Malta's economy has got, one might ask, but why Malta? And we shall be discussing this in our next slide. Malta has been enjoying a long-term economic, political, and social stability. The stability has come through because the government of Malta has always been very proactive and pro-business when trying to assist and even support local companies, as well as finding new niche sectors, and to also assist investors who would like to set up in Malta. Our strategic location with easy access to nearby markets has also made this more easy, and we have an efficient, competitive, and transparent tax system. This is very much so because we have a very advantageous tax system where our tax regime is 35%. However, upon the distribution of dividends, you will be eligible for a tax refund of 30%. And so the effective tax rate would be just of 5% for the duration of your business venture in Malta. Additionally, we have other incentives for companies who would like to bring their flair or specialized personnel from within their company to assist them with their personal tax. So apart from having benefits as a company or as a startup, when coming over to the island, if you have anyone who would like to join you and who is particularly specialized, we will also be able to assist through a particular scheme. We have also highly skilled and English-speaking human resources on the island. As you have seen from the first slides, our human resources are all English-speaking because it is one of our national languages. Having said that, apart from Maltese, which is our national language, and English, most of the locals have third and even a fourth at times European language. So most of the people speak Italian and French or German or Spanish. And this has been very much in use due to the number of expats which we have and even to new investors from foreign-owned companies. However, education, training, and trading in Malta are all conducted in English. So there won't be any issues with language barriers if you intend to set up in Malta. And we too encourage people who are coming over, if there are any issues with the English, we can also assist you to join any English schools which we have on the island, but just to make it more easier for you to be able to engage in trading with other companies. We also have a competitive cost structure with low social costs. Malta offers a competitive cost base, especially in comparison to other larger economies. For instance, just to give you an example, Malta's hourly labor costs are cost competitive when compared to those in Europe. In 2019, when compared with previous years, the hourly labor cost in the whole economy rose by 2.9% in the European Union and by 2.5% in the euro area. However, within the euro area, the largest increases were recorded in Slovakia and Estonia, with an increase of 7.8% and 7.7% respectively, whilst the lowest hourly labor cost increase was recorded in Malta. And it was an increase of just 1%. So apart from having already costs, such as rental costs and social costs, which are lower than those in Europe, if there will be an increase in Malta, our increase is very low compared to other countries. Then this is further coupled with an excellent quality of life and safe environment where work-life balance in Malta is very much easy to reach. Additionally, we as Malta Enterprise offer an attractive incentive package to anyone wishing to invest in Malta. Malta Enterprise is always on the lookout to see how best it can assist investors as much as possible. And this is even more so for startups because we tend to have startups at heart, and we know that they would need that extra push and that extra access to finance. So we do our best to provide you with the majority of the support which we can provide you and the highest levels of state aid which we can offer to companies, especially when just starting up. Because our idea is to help you set up in Malta, grow, and even internationalize. And to be able to scale up in this manner in a short period of time, it is inevitable that the government, and in this case, the government of Malta, would be involved in what you are doing, involved from a detached point of view, but will be there supporting you as much as possible. And this is done through the assistance of Malta Enterprise. We have various fiscal and financial schemes and incentives which we can assist you with, such as investment aid, tax credits, provision of loan guarantees and interest rate subsidies, assistance to train the workforce so that once you are growing, you would be able to find the right workforce to join your businesses, business development grants for high value adding projects, and we help you with relocation in that case, and support for research, development, and innovation. Something else which is also available for startups, especially which is entirely dedicated to startups, is the Startup Finance Scheme, which scheme helps you with the assistance which you require. And although it is a very generous scheme which can offer up to 400,000 euros in assistance, yet in certain cases, if there are certain things which are matched with the requirements set out in the guidelines of the scheme, this 400,000 euros can even go up to 800,000 euros. So as I told you, do not be afraid. Anything which you might require, we are just an email or a chat away, and we will be more than happy to provide you with a tailor-made product for you so that you would have the best schemes that can assist you depending on what your needs are. Because obviously this is not a one-size-fits-all. We would encourage you that if you'd be interested, we will have this short chat. And then through this chat, we will be able to have a better understanding of your business, the stage within which your startup is, whether it is at an early stage, or whether there are the needs for any feasibility studies, or whether it's more established and looking into scaling up to the extent that it will become an established business very soon. We will be able to cater for you accordingly. And apart from this attractive package, we will also help you with obtaining space from where to operate, and even provide you with a relationship manager who will help you with the setting up of the company in Malta, and even opening your bank account in Malta, and even to start moving forward, and will keep you abreast with any new initiatives or schemes which Malta Enterprise will be having from time to time. We try to do our best. We assist you with everything, even with relocation, with having employees engaged with you. And when it comes to R&D, we also have a whole package, which is a mix of local as well as European schemes. And we assist from as I told you, from the very early stages up to the stage where you would like the concept to become a marketable concept, and even eventually to market your product. So we have a very vast package. We will be more than happy to assist you. And we have also, as you have seen, a transparent legal and regulatory environment coupled with a sophisticated ecosystem. This legal and regulatory framework or environment is very important because it is within these parameters which you have to invest when you are investing in a foreign country. And we try to be as practical as possible in this case, so that you would feel comfortable in operating from our island. This is all from my end. I would like to invite you to view a testimonial video so that you can have first-hand experience. Having said that, if you would like also to come to Malta on a fact-finding mission, we would be more than happy to assist you, and also to set up one-to-one meetings with the companies which have already tried and tested Malta within your sector and which are operating within your sector, or even others which you can collaborate with, and we will help you as much as we can. That's our promise. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, feel free. Thank you.